ज्वलन्तं शर्वतमुखं नृसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युर्नमामः श्रीसिंह जय नृसिंह जय जय नरसिंह प्रह्लादेश जय पद्म मुख पद्मभृङ्ग तव कर कमल परे नखा मदभूत शृङ्ग दलित हिरण्यकशिपो तनुभृङ्ग केशवधृत नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे कर कमल मदभूत शृङ्ग दलित हिरण्यकशिपो तनुभृङ्ग केशवधृत नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे तव कर कमल भरे नखा मद्भुत शृङ्ग दलित जय जय केशवधृत नरहरिरूप जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश गौरा हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल, निताय गौरा हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल। श्री श्री शुद्ध भगवान की, शुद्ध भक्त प्रहलाद महाराज की, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की, गौर प्रेमानंदे। हरि हरि बोल।
जय पंचतत्व, जय पंचतत्व, पंचतत्व, जय पंचतत्व। पंचतत्व, 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 जय पंचतत्व, जय पंचतत्व, पंचतत्व, जय 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 श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद, जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद, जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद, जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद, जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद, जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद, जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद, जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। राम राम हरे हरे, जय पंचतत्व जय पंचतत्व, पंचतत्व जय पंचतत्व, पंचतत्व श्री श्री पंचतत्व भगवान की।
जय जय पंचतत्व भगवान की, श्रील प्रभुपाद की। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु दया कर मोरे, श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु दया कर मोरे, तोमा बिना के दयालु जगत संसारे, तोमा बिना পতিত পাবন হেতু তব অবতার পতি মশামাপ পিত প্রভু না পাইবে আহা প্রভু নিত্যানন্দ প্রেমানন্দ সুখে কৃপাবল কন কর আমি বড় দুঃখে কৃপাবল দয়া করো সীতাপতি অদ্বৈত গোসাই দয়া করো দয়া করো সীতাপতি অদ্বৈত গোসাই দয়া কর তব কৃপা বলে পাই চৈতন্য নিতায় আহা স্বরূপ সনাতন রূপ রঘুনা তাহা ভট্ট যুগ শ্রীজীব প্রভু লোকনাথ ভট্ট যুগ দয়া কর সিনারে দয়া কর সিয়াচার্য প্রভু শ্রীনিবাস দয়া কর দয়া কর শ্রী আচার্য প্রভু শ্রীনিবাস রামচন্দ্র সঙ্গ মাগে নরতম দাস জয় শ্রী কৃষ্ণ চৈতন্য প্রভু নিত্যানন্দ শ্রী অদ্বৈত গদাধর শ্রীবাসাদি গৌরভক্ত বৃন্দ শ্রী কৃষ্ণ শব্দ বেরোবে বেরোবে শব্দ বেরোবে Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada. जय जय पंचरत्न भगवान की
जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय यशोदानन्दन जय ब्रजजनरञ्जन जय यशोदानन्दन जय ब्रजजनरञ्जन जय यमुनातीरवनचारी जय कुञ्ज बिहारी यमुनातीरवनचारी जय कुञ्ज बिहारी श्री श्री राधा माधव
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham
श्री राधा माधव की, श्रील प्रभुपाद की। जय राधा माधव जय राधा माधव राधा माधव जय राधा माधव जय राधा माधव राधा माधव राधा माधव राधा प्रभुपाद जय श्रील प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय श्रील प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज जय पंचतत्व 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 जय पंचतत्व 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 जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Bal, Hare Bal, Hare Bal, Hare Bal, Hare Bal, Hare Bal. Nitai Gaur Hare Bal, Hare Bal, Hare Bal, Hare Bal, Hare Bal, Hare Bal, Hare Bal. Srila Prabhupada ki, Prabhupada Guru Puja ki. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Bandhamui Sabodhana Mate Bandhamui Sabodhana Mate Jaharo prasade bhai he bhava kariya jai jahar he bhai he bhava kariya Krishna prapti hoy jahar Krishna prapte hai jaha hote Guru mukha padma vaikka chitte te kariya yoika Arna kari ha mane asha Shri Guru Charane Rati Eshe Uttama Gati Prasade Pure Sarvo Asha Je Prasade Pure Sarvo Asha लीला जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु तेरे तुम्हार लीला जय दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशिता प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ होइते अविद्या विनाश जाते हृदय गाये जहाँ चरिता श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु अधम जनार बंधु श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु लोकनाथ लोकेर जीवन आहा प्रभु कर दया देह मोरे पद छाया आहा प्रभु कर दया देह मोरे पद छाया आहा प्रभु कर दया देह मोरे पद छाया हे वेदांत घोषक त्रिभुवन जय घोषक त्रिभुवन जय प्रभुपद 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 जय प्रभुपद 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 जय जय प्रभुपद 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 गीताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल श्रील प्रभुपाद की प्रभुपाद गुरु पूजा की नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिते नामिने नमो कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश पारिणे गौर भक्त वृंद श्री कृष्ण श्री कृष्ण नंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य Kadadhar Deva Kadi Gaurav Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama
विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्राह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वामेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मवादिशं हृदमवादिशं सत्यमवादिशं तन्मावावीर तद्भक्तारमावीर आवीत्माम् आवीत् भक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ तच्छय्यो आवृणीमहे गातुं यज्ञाय गातुं यज्ञपदये दैवी स्वस्ति नस्तु नः स्वस्तिर्मानुषेभ्यः ऊर्ध्वं जिगातु भेषजां शं नो अस्तु द्विपदे ॐ शं चतुष्पदे ॐ शान्तिः ॐ गोविन्द 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 ॐ तत्सत् भद्रब्राह्मणो श्रीश्वे वैवस्वदाख्यमन्वन्तरे अष्टविंशतिकलिकसप्रथमसन्ध्यायां ब्राह्मणविंशतां वर्तमानायां पञ्चत्रिंशोत्तरपञ्चशतगौराब्दे उत्तरायणे ग्रीष्मऋतौ मधुसूदनमासे कृष्णपक्षे मेषराशिभास्करे द्वादशतिथौ शनिवारान्वितायाम् उत्तरभद्रपदनक्षत्रसंयुतायां भूमण्डले जम्बूद्वीपे भरतवर्षे भारतखण्डे मेदिनीबोधस्य सुमेरो दक्षिणे लवनानवस्योत्तरे कोणे गङ्गायां पूर्वभागे श्रीमायापुरधाम्नि श्रीविग्रहब्रह्मणवैष्णववाक्यसन्निधौ एवं गणविशेषविशिष्टायाम् अस्मिन् शुभदिवसे श्री श्री नरसिंहदेव श्रीप्रहलादमहाराजप्रीत्यर्थं श्री तुलसी एवं पुष्पहर्षणं करिष्ये श्रीपङ्कजाङ्गप्रभुन्निमित्ते करिष्ये ॐ नरविष्णु परमं पदगं सदामश्यन्ति सूरयः दिवि वचक्षुरागतं नरविष्णास्वामिमन्यवोजागं सस्तविन्दते कृष्णोर्यात्मनमं फलम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ श्रीलक्ष्मी नरसिंहाष्टोत्तरशतनाम स्तोत्रं नामावली ॐ तद्विष्णो परमं पदकं सदा पश्यन्ति सूरयः दिवि वचक्षुरादतं तद्विप्रासो विपण्यवोजाग्रभागं सस्रविन्दते विष्णोर्यत् परमं पदम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ नरसिंहाय नमः ॐ महासिंहाय नमः ॐ दिव्यसिंहाय नमः ॐ महाबलाय नमः ॐ उग्रसिंहाय नमः ॐ महादेवाय नमः ॐ संभराय नमः ॐ उग्रलोचनाय नमः ॐ रौद्राय नमः ॐ सर्वाद्भुताय नमः ॐ श्रीमते नमः ॐ योगानन्दाय नमः ॐ त्रिविक्रमाय नमः ॐ हरये नमः ॐ कोलाहलाय नमः ॐ चक्रिणे नमः ॐ घोरविक्रमाय नमः ॐ जगन्मुखाय नमः ॐ ज्वालमालिने नमः ॐ महाज्वलाय नमः ॐ महाप्रभवे नमः ॐ निडलाक्षाय नमः ॐ सहस्राक्षाय नमः ॐ धरनिरीक्षाय नमः ॐ परन्तपाय नमः ॐ महादंष्ट्रायोद्धाय नमः ॐ प्राज्ञाय नमः ॐ चण्डकोपिने नमः ॐ सदाशिवाय नमः गजबुद्ध्वंसने नमः ॐ दैत्यदानवभञ्जनाय नमः ॐ गुणभद्राय नमः ॐ महाभद्राय नमः ॐ बलभद्राय नमः ॐ सुभद्रकाय नमः ॐ करालाय नमः ॐ विकरालाय नमः ॐ विकर्त्रे नमः ॐ सर्वकर्तृकाय नमः ॐ शिशुमाराय नमः ॐ त्रिलोकात्मने नमः ॐ ईशाय नमः ॐ सर्वेश्वराय नमः ॐ विभवे नमः ॐ भैरवडम्बराय नमः ॐ दिव्याय नमः ॐ अच्युताय नमः ॐ कविमाधवाय नमः ॐ अलोक्षणाय नमः ॐ अक्षराय नमः ॐ शर्वाय नमः ॐ वनमालिने नमः ॐ वरप्रदाय नमः ॐ विश्वम्भराय नमः ॐ अद्भुताय नमः ॐ भव्याय नमः ॐ श्रीविष्णवे नमः ॐ पुरुषोत्तमाय नमः ॐ अनघास्त्राय नमः ॐ नघास्त्राय नमः ॐ सूर्यज्योतिषे नमः ॐ सुरेश्वराय नमः ॐ सहस्रबाहवे नमः ॐ सर्वज्ञाय नमः ॐ सर्वसिद्धिप्रदायकाय नमः वज्रंष्ट्राय नमः ॐ वज्रनखाय नमः ॐ महानन्दाय नमः ॐ परन्तपाय नमः ॐ सर्वमन्त्रैकरूपाय नमः ॐ सर्वयन्त्रविदारणाय नमः ॐ सर्वतन्त्रात्मकाय नमः ॐ अव्यक्ताय नमः ॐ सुव्यक्ताय नमः ॐ भक्तवत्सलाय नमः ॐ वैशाखशुक्लभूतोत्ताय नमः शरणागतवत्सलाय नमः ॐ महात्मने नमः ॐ चण्डविक्रमाय नमः ॐ वेदत्रयप्रपूज्याय नमः ॐ भगवते नमः ॐ परमेश्वराय नमः ॐ श्रीवत्साङ्काय नमः ॐ श्रीनिवासाय नमः ॐ जगद्व्यापिने नमः ॐ जगन्मयाय नमः ॐ जगत्पालाय नमः ॐ जगन्नाथाय नमः ॐ महाकायाय नमः ॐ विरूपभृते नमः ॐ परमात्मने नमः ॐ परमज्योतिषे नमः ॐ निर्गुणाय नमः ॐ त्रिकेसरिणे नमः ॐ परतत्त्वाय नमः ॐ परमधामाय नमः ॐ सच्चिदानन्दविग्रहाय नमः ॐ लक्ष्मीनरसिंहाय नमः ॐ सर्वात्मने नमः ॐ धीराय नमः ॐ प्रह्लादबालकाय नमः ॐ यदक्षरं परिभ्रष्टं मन्त्रहीनं च यद्भवेत् पूर्णं भवतु तत्सर्वं तत्प्रसादात् सुरेश्वरा ॐ हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
जय जय श्री श्री नरसिंहदेव भगवान की जय। जय भक्तराज प्रहलाद महाराज की जय। जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय श्रीपाद पंकजंघ्री प्रभु की जय। समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल।
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Bal 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 Nitai Gaur Hare Bal 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 Nitai Gaur Premanande Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Pujapad Pangajangri Prabhu ki
स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ अस्य कर्मणो रिद्धिं भवन्तु ब्रुवन्तु ॐ ऋध्यताम् ॐ ऋध्यताम् ॐ ऋद्यामस्तोमं शनुयाम वाचमानो मन्त्रम् सरथेहोपायातम् यशो न भक्वं मधुगोष्वन्तरा भूतांशो अश्विनः कामामप्राह ॐ स्वस्ति नो गोविन्दः स्वस्ति नो अच्युतानन्दौ स्वस्ति नो वासुदेवो विष्णुर्दधातु स्वस्ति नो नारायणो नरो वै स्वस्ति नः पद्मनाभः पुरुषोत्तमो दधातु स्वस्ति नो विश्वक्सेनो विश्वेश्वरः स्वस्ति नो हृषीकेशो हरिर्दधातु स्वस्ति नो वैनातेयो हरिः स्वस्ति नो अञ्जनासुतो हनुर्भागवतो दधातु स्वस्ति स्वस्ति सुमङ्गलैकेशो महत् श्रीकृष्ण सच्चिदानन्दघन सर्वेश्वरेश्वरो दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Krishna.
Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Hari Bol.
So, on behalf of Jananivas Prabhu, Pankajangi Prabhu, and Shri Mayapur Chandrodaya Mandir, we would like to invite and welcome all the devotees for this very auspicious program, memorial of His Grace Pankajangi Prabhu. So, before we begin, we just wanted to discuss a couple of ground rules, how this program is going to work. So we are all very heartbroken because due to this premature departure of His Grace Pankajangi Prabhu. We are, unfortunately, we are still in the midst of the COVID pandemic, and we were forced to limit the number of participants, physical participants for this program, as per the government guidelines, so that all of you who are here can properly follow and maintain social distancing. So before we begin the program, I very humbly request that you please spread out. There's enough space here, that there is enough distance between each and every devotee. Please be a little bit conscious. I know, like here for example, two of you are way too close. Please move. The Kirtan people here are too close. Please space away. Please just look around you. There's two of you are way too close. I'm sorry to be doing that. This is not what I want to do. But this program is going to be constantly interrupted if you devotees are not conscious. We want to absorb ourselves in the memories of Pankajangi Prabhu. We don't want to be interrupted by reminders about the rules of social distancing. But if devotees do not follow, it is going to happen. So please be very conscious about the distance from the other devotees. So can please everybody commit yourself to that this program is going to be very, very well maintained in this regard. So then after that, then now we will begin with the Kirtan. Prabhu? Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
जय जय निताय गौ सीतानाथ प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय पूज्यपाद पंकजांगी प्रभु की जय समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय 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 निताय गौर सीतानाथ प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनीति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताक्षं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधाकांत नमस्ते। सप्तकांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे हरे। कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे हरे। कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ার সাগর হে দাসে করুণা করি দিয়া পদ ছায়া শোধো হে আমার তোমার চরণ ধরি তোমার চরণ ওহে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ার সাগর ওহে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ার সাগর এ দাসে করুণা করি ওহে বৈষ্ণব পদ ছায়া শোধো হে আমায় পদ ছায়া শোধো হে আমায় তোমার চরণ ধরি তোমার চরণ ধরি পদ ছায়া শোধো হে আমায় তোমার চরণ ছয় বেগদমি ছয় দোষ শোধি ছয় গুণ দেহ দাসে ছয় সৎ সঙ্গ দেহ হে আমারে শত সঙ্গ বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর পতিতে পাবন বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর ছয় সৎ সঙ্গ দেহ হে আমারে ছয় সৎ দেহ হে বসেছি সঙ্গের আসে বসেছি সঙ্গের আসে সঙ্গ দেহ হে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ার সাগর এ দাসে করুণা করি একাকী আমার নাহি পায়ে বল হরিনাম সংকীর্তনে একাকী আমার নাহি পায়ে বল হরিনাম সংকীর্তনে একাকী আমার নাহি পায়ে বল হরিনাম সংকীর্তনে তুমি কৃপা করি শ্রদ্ধা বিন্দু দিয়া তুমি
कृपा करी श्रद्धा बिंदु दिया वैष्णव ठाकुर पतित पावन वैष्णव ठाकुर तुम कृपा करी श्रद्धा बिंदु दिया तुम कृपा करी श्रद्धा बिंदु दिया देह कृष्ण नाम धने देह कृष्ण
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Hare Krishna. So we have here Pancharatna Prabhu with us. Pancharatna Prabhu was one of close friends of His Grace Pankajangri Prabhu, and he has agreed to MC this ceremony today. So Pancharatna Prabhu, I will give the microphone to you now.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I welcome all of the devotees for this Viraha Utsav, this combination of festival and sorrow. Before we begin, I must emphasize the absolute importance of maintaining safe behavior while present here in this program. That means wearing your mask, covering your nose, not down like this, which almost defeats the purpose. Maintaining distance, and if you don't, I hope you will not object, but if you do, too bad. There is a devotee here named Gangamai Nitai who serves in the security, and if he sees that you're not wearing your mask properly, which I see at least half of you, not half, but a number of you, I know it's not comfortable, but you got to cover your nose if you want to use the mask properly to protect others. Remember, you could be carrying this virus and not know it. So therefore, please use the mask properly. He will be observing and he may remind you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Jai, Jai, Jai. Pankaj Jangri Prabhu ki Jai. Jai Nrsimhadev ki Jai. Jai, Jai, Shri Panchatattva ki Jai. Jai, Jai, Shri Radha Madhava Ashtashaki Vrinda ki Jai. Jai, Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. We begin today. I'm not sure. I saw Anuttama Prabhu on the screen, but now I don't see him. So, as you all know, and of course I must also say that we are all here assembled as a small group, but there's a much larger group that is participating through the virtual medium Mayapur TV, and that includes our dear godbrother Anuttama Prabhu, who has a very special role in the Mayapur project as the chair at present of the Mayapur Executive Board. This is the group of devotees who, on behalf of the GBC and on behalf of ISKCON India, they oversee at the top level our development and management of Sri Mayapur project. So I will ask him, it's appropriate for me to stand on something. This is one of our priests, and he's given me something to stand on. I think that means I'm supposed to stand on something if I... It's Hare Krishna. Anyway, I am so ignorant in these affairs. And now I've lost an expert. Oh, one of the things that Pankaj Janri would do for me is correct me or answer my questions when it came to how to understand the worship of the deities. But I'm taking too much. Anuttama Prabhu, please, can you hear us? You look like you're frozen. You're there, okay. Speak something so we can see that we hear you, because we're not hearing you yet. We're not. Oh, it's recorded. Okay, very good. Yeah, because I was wondering, this is, right now it's midnight, or a little. Okay, so we don't hear any sound, so we have to get the sound going. Not yet, it's not working yet. Who's in charge of the sound? Because we still don't hear any sound. Sound wallahs. Okay, sound, you're trying. Not got it yet. Still not yet. All right, well, we will have to pause on this, it looks like. Yeah, okay, you're gonna work on that? I wanted to also just make a brief thing. There are many devotees assembled here whose hearts are overwhelmed with thoughts and words to say, but who have requested not to be asked to come and speak in front of all of you because of the emotions. And we appreciate, we understand that. So we respect their wishes. But there is one devotee who we must hear from, and that is His Grace Jananivas Prabhu. So please, Jananivas Prabhu, if you would come forward, and please speak. Now, what's our protocol for these microphones? Because I don't have any sanitizer or anything like that. I need something to sanitize this mic before I hand it over to anyone. I think I have something in my... Here we go. I got it.
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharini Nivasisha Sunamari Pasrata Deshatari. So today we are here to speak on it's a condolence meeting for Pankajangri Prabhu, very, very dear disciple of Srila Prabhupada. Very dear. Even can't hear. Okay. When Srila Prabhupada was leaving his body at that time in Vrindavan, and some devotees were going from Mayapur, and I didn't go, just I was looking after the deities in Mayapur. And anyway, when the devotees went there, and Prabhupada greeted them and how is everything in Mayapur? Then he specifically mentioned how is Pankajangri. He's an Anivas, but even Srila Prabhupada was remembering Pankajangri at that time, when he wasn't even physically present. So we can all meet again. Prabhupada is with Krishna. And we can all meet again and see Pankajangri when we go back home, back to Godhead also. So we understand Krishna's instructions, Krishna's plans. So for the Vaishnavas, lamentation over the loss or happiness over gain, it's not really a big consideration for the devotees. They absorb themselves in service now, and when they leave their body and go back to God, they're doing the same thing, service to Krishna. Like Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakur says in Navadipta Mahatmya that one who leaves his body in Mayapur for any reason, accident, illness, sickness, virus, any way he lives, he goes, or he attains devotion to Krishna, he performs devotion to Krishna. So where do they perform devotion to Krishna? It's in back to Godhead. There's no devotion in the material world. So one immediately, as Prabhupada said, living and dying in the Dham is the same. So, anyway, Pankaj Prabhu Ki Jai. I'll speak something of his earlier life because you don't know and maybe you would like to know. So Pankaj Prabhu, he was born in March of 1944 in Barnet. It's on the outskirts of London town in England. And he was born as a twin brother to Janani Bastas, as a younger brother. And his mother had 10 children altogether. And so it was a handful for her. And her husband was a rogi, he had TB. And he was actually he was a millionaire. He had a big block of flats in mansion house in London, which his father donated to him as a wedding present. So he was really rich, but also he was attached to intoxication and and gambling. He used to go to gamble on the horses. He used to take intoxication. So he wasn't very good. And anyway, he squandered all the money. So my mother was there, 10 kids, no money. What to do? So far, I have a little bit of water. It's March. Town. Hare Krishna. Anyway, mother loved us very much, and she gave birth to a daughter after that, who was the last daughter. And she said to us that when I was in the hospital with my two new twin, I was looking after the new born baby, little girl. And someone was looking after the twins in the home. I think she was in hospital, so she was crying to the nurses, "Where are my twins? Where are my twins? I want my twins." The nurse says, "Well, you've got your newborn baby here. You've got enough to look after here." She said, "No, I don't want my baby. I want my twins." She was very much attached to the twins. But my memories start when I was about 4 years old, when things became sequential. But before that, I just remember one or two things. And we were born in 1944. The Second World War was going on, and Hitler was blitzing England. Blitzing means a barrage. It was bomb after bomb after bomb. And they had another kind of weapon called Doodlebug, and it was a flying bomb, and it could get from the English Channel and go over to the other side, from France to England, where it was German occupied. France was German occupied. So they were sending these doodlebugs. They had enough petrol or whatever it was to get across English Channel to England. Then the petrol would cut out, it would finish. Then that bomb would start to go down. It used to make a sound. And then everybody would start running shelters, but I remember one, just a flash of a remembering like that. And we jumped under the wooden, we had a wooden eating table. We used to get under the table. They had the Anderson shelter, I don't know, it was corrugated iron shelters that most people had stored in their houses. So every time we heard these sounds coming, when the engine shut off, that you knew the bomb was starting to fall. So everyone would rush to their different shelters. And oh Krishna, it was I can't remember. I just somehow or another I think that was just stuck in my mind because it was a kind of a shock. And so my mum she couldn't look after us all, 10 kids at once and no husband. And he'd spend all the money, gambled all the money. And so we were sent to a home. I can't remember the actual place where it was. It was in the countryside. It was a nunnery. The nuns lived there. And then they were taking children and everything during the war. So we had to go there. So my mum took us up to the Waterloo train station in London, and we was going to go to this destination, this nunnery, and stay there for some time. It's a Gurukul. I'm a Gurukuli. So I went to the nunnery for some time from the 5 years old. And so there we were at Waterloo station, and then mother, she's asked going to get on the train, and we said no, we're not going to get on the train and go away. And they had a nurse with them. I think it's from the WVS, Women's Voluntary Service, which was very active during the war period. So they had sent one of these managers to take me in Pangajangri to this nunnery. And she had been in the war blast herself, and her nose was missing, and she was doing this voluntary service. And their mother saying, here, hold on to these ladies' hands and she'll take you. And she had no nose, and my mother was leaving, and we were crying and crying and crying. I had a bottle of orange juice and a bottle of, you may not believe it, but cod liver oil. This was given by the government so people can remain healthy. But fish oil was one of the things that were full of nutritions. But the orange juice was good. But anyway, we both had a bottle of each because we was going on this journey. And then I dropped my bottle, and then Pangjangi dropped his bottle, and it splashed all over the floor, and we were crying. And then we were taken away on the train like that. And then we went to the nunnery, and the sisters come out to greet us. And I said, what's your name? Pangajanga said, Roy Worthington. Oh, Worthington. They looked at each other and they smiled. Worthington. Because it's the name of a famous beer there. Drinking alcoholic beer. Worthington's beer. So they looked at each other and smiled. Oh, Worthington, nice name. Anyway, we stayed in that place for some time. And then we came back to our home, and then but this Bhaktivedanta Purna Swami Maharaj was giving a class one time, and he was saying that how the children should be sent to Gurukul at the age of 5, because that's when they start to function nicely. So anyway, it struck me when he said that. Oh yeah, I had that really. My thinking and everything starts from that time, and that was 4 or 5 years old. when we were separated from mother, then I can think, I know the sequences after that. So what Maharaj said is factual. When you leave, the children should leave home and go to the Gurukul at the age of 5. So that was my own experience. Now I can start remembering from that time. I'm 5 years old. And then we went to another place, which for a little while, because still Mum was having difficulty in looking after 10 kids. We went to another place in Watford, near Bhaktivedanta Manor. And then we were bigger. Yeah, anyway, then we went back home after that and went to the local school. And sometimes there was a character in the comic book it was called the Terrible Twins. There were 2 characters. The Terrible Twins, they always used to get into mischief. The Beano or the Dandy, if anybody knows the comic books at that time. And they would have these terrible twins. They always perform mischief. So somehow or other people used to call us the Terrible Twins. We weren't terrible, actually. We were very nice and did play. But the people said we were terrible twins. And then at school one time, I remember the headmistress came out and she said, "I've heard about you and now I'm going to give you some lesson." And she had like a walking stick with a big ribbon tied on it. And she was going to come and give us the cane because we broke something. And we said, "No, we didn't break anything. It wasn't us." And the teacher turned to the little girl and said, "You said it was the twins, the terrible twins." Oh, and then she started crying. No, I just said that. I just said that because I didn't want to get into trouble. So I said it was the twins that broke it. Anyway. Yeah, then we went. Then Pangadangi went to regular school. Then he left when he was about 15, I think. As soon as we could leave, we wanted to leave school. And then, it's great. School finished, no more responsibilities. We thought we were going to have a good time, and then my elder brother said, "No, you can't. You can't just go around for yourself. You got to support your mother. She has nobody supporting her. You have to support her. You have to go out and work." And I said, "No, we didn't leave school to go to work. We only want to play with it." No, you have to do work and get some money. Otherwise, who's going to maintain you? So then we had to start work. Varieties of work. And we went through what young boys go through when they're growing up. And then in the 1970s, sometime the late 60s, then we had the counterculture hippie movement started in England and America, and this was great. Every generation of young children, they want to rebel some way or another, through their dress, through their style, through their talking, through their music. they want to express their freedom. Young men, which has got man's body, and he wants to. So we were part of the cult, you can say. And I came to India. Well, I wasn't intending to go to India. I was going to go. I wanted to go to some place that's very mystical. So I thought Istanbul is like mystical. You got the big domes and the wailing is going on, and like the Arabian Nights and fairy tale kind of stuff. And yeah, so I was going to go to Istanbul, and Pangajangi said, I'm going to Morocco, which is North America. But at that time there was going to be the World Love In from the hippie movement. A love in means everybody comes. It's a love, promoting love and peace. And it was going to be in Marrakesh. And so Pangajangi said, I'm going to that Marrakesh. And I said, okay, I'm going to Istanbul. I'll come back and meet you. So somehow or another I got to India. From there, someone invited me to go with him. He said, I'll pay your fare. And we were doing a little bit of wheeling and dealing on the way, so we had gets a little bit of money. And anyway, then I fell in love with India as soon as I came here. And then then I came back and I had some kind of enlightenment. People were talking about enlightenment in those days. Peace, love, enlightenment, and yoga and everything, all this. It's all new for England. But it was, so somehow or another I had some enlightenment. I must have come to it, because I was just going to temples in India, and maybe I met some sadhu unknowingly or something like that. Anyway, somehow or another I got the blessings. Oh no. Anyway, that's just another story. Anyway, I got some enlightenment from the Supreme Lord, and spiritual emotions manifesting in my heart. And so then I went back to England and I said, Pangajangi, let's go to the Holy Land. He said, where's that? Jerusalem? I said, forget Jerusalem, go to India, that's a place of knowledge and everything. So we both came to India the second time. And so we traveled all around India. Pangajangi said, this has been the best time of my life. Completely free and independent and wandering around. Like we run a sadhu trip with a little longi and following the sadhus. And then I met the devotees checking out Puri, and I immediately accepted Krishna consciousness. They preached to me. Everything was perfect. All the unanswered questions I had, they were answered perfectly. And Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's what we were searching for. We were searching for that ultimate personality, and the absolute truth. That was Krishna. Prabhupada gave us, here is Krishna, he's the absolute truth. This is what you are searching for. I became so happy, my search is over. So then I stayed here. Pangajangi said, I'm not ready to be a holy Joe at the moment. But you go pursue your path, be strong, go on. So he was in India. So anyway, he went back, but he was always going to the Bhaktivedanta, to his home, to his temple every day. And you think, I'm losing interest in going back to my house. I'm getting more interested in going. So he said, I might as well stay in the temple. So then he stayed in Bhaktivedanta temple, and he took initiation from Srila Prabhupada there. And yeah, then he was staying in England, and I was in Mayapur, and I was staying here, and what was I going to say? That's right. That's right. So I was all alone here, 1971, and Radha Madhava came. This was 1972. Was the first Gaur Purnima ISKCON festival. So I was asked to come. I was in Calcutta. I joined in Calcutta. Then I was asked to come to Mayapur to cook for the devotees. They're going to establish a pandal program for the first Mayapur festival, ISKCON. And so I was here cooking for the devotees. I think Narayan was there, and Chutananda Maharaj, Prabhas. There's 3 or 4 of us living there. Anyway, that happened. The next year, on 1971, I took initiation. It's 1972. Second initiation. And then I was asked to do the puja. And there was a lot to do, only one person. So I was praying to Krishna that, please bring Pankajangri to Mayapur. Let me come here and serve here, because I can get along with you. We have no ego because we know each other too well. We're born together, we slept together, we live together. So we can't pull any false ego out on each other. So we know each other too well. So anyway, I was praying that Krishna, please send Pankajangri. We can just serve to heart's content here. So then Pankajangri came just after that. Krishna answered my prayer, so then Pankajangri stayed. He became here. And he used to be the temple cleaner, in charge of temple cleaning in the beginning. I think he was an ashram teacher we had quite a lot of little boys there at that time. And yeah, so then Pankajangri, he joined, I think 1973. 73? 74. And Pankajangri was saying that because when he was in India, he met a lot of gurus. And he went to one, the divine light. You can see the light, the white light, they press your eyes. And white light, that was. And Pankajanga was telling me that he was in the Bhaktivedanta manner, and then he saw Prabhupada was giving his lecture, and then suddenly Prabhupada, from his eyes came this white light. Pankajanga said, "He's got it. He's got it. This is what we were looking for. This is what another gurus were talking about, white light. Prabhupada's got the white light. He's got the white light." So then from Pankajanga came and joined. He got initiation from Prabhupada. Yeah, then he came to India and he served me continuously. Prabhupada said, Pankajanga, he said, those boys, they know nothing but service. Nothing but service. So it was a fact. From morning till night, there was just the deities and service whole day, 24 hours. So service is there. In any situation we have service. When Prabhupada left, everyone was, what we do, we're confused. And the conclusion was, now it's service as usual. Or even more than usual. Now Prabhupada left, what shall we do? No, it's service as usual. And more for service. So that's our position we are. Eternal servants of Krishna. Service never stops for us. Whether we're here, we will serve here, we go back home, back to Godhead, we serve there. But service is what we have. And through that service attitude, we can express our love for Krishna. Can't express it any other way. It has to be service. So we are the eternal servants of Krishna. Pankajanga is wherever. We like to feel that he definitely went back to Godhead. And of course he did go back to Godhead because he's in the Dham. That's it. So wherever Pankajanga is now, he'll be doing the same thing. He'll be doing seva. We do our seva here. So we're all packed up. Prabhupada said, you are the other side of the world. You are chanting Hare Krishna. I am here chanting Hare Krishna. But by chanting Hare Krishna, we're all packed up together. So like that, we're still packed up together with Pankajanga. Through this service, he's established, we worship. For Lord Nrsingadev. So we all meet again. We'll all meet again. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Pankajanga Prabhu ki jai, back to home, back to Godhead ki jai. Itai Go Premanandi, Jai Prabhupada.
Thank you very much. Pankajanga, I was just going to say Pankajanga, and I do thank Pankajanga through Jananivas. Hare Krishna. Thank you. We are going to hear now from His Holiness Jaivataka Swami Maharaj through the, I guess it's a Zoom medium over here. The technicians, are you ready? Are you all set up? Have we got the sound working? Can we hear the sound? Can we test the sound? We're not hearing anything yet.
Wherever Pankajang
Okay.
is now, he'll be doing the same thing. He'll be doing the seva.
I will. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. So, do we have Jai Pataka Maharaj on camera? Who is with him? Well, is this going to be what do we think here? Is this going to take some time? Hare Krishna. Do I see? So, here we go. Hare Krishna. Jai. Jai Pataka Maharaj ki Jai. Hare Krishna. So, thank you, Maharaj. We are looking forward to hearing from you now.
We'll all meet again. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram.
Okay, so we're getting the playback from the last.
Prabhu ki, back to home, back to Godhead ki. I go Premanandi. Jai Prabhu.
Gurmas, we can speak Gurmas. Yes, they can hear Gurmas. You open the TV.
Krishna Balaya, Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale, Sela Devakti Vedanta Swami, Idinamane, Namaste, Saraswati Devi, Guru Ramani Vacharini, Nirishesha Zinyana, Pasatyam Dushatani, Ansakhalbhadra Rajma, Vivasan Vavevja, Haridhava Vavevya Vaishnave, Yonama Nama, Mahakavalti Vachalam, Anguram Ayateyarim, Yativataman Bande, Sriyoram Dinadayam, Paramanandamaram, Sri Chaitanya Ishram, Hari Om Tat Sat.
Yes.
Can I be heard?
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
I don't have.
Speaker.
I don't have a loudspeaker. That loudspeaker. I can't hear anything.
Guru Maharaj, if we switch on the speaker here, then they will be like little disturbed. You can hear echo. You're seeing there in the Mayapur TV show.
Yes.
You can't. Okay. So, I was asked to speak about the departure of Pankajangri.
So I was asked to speak about the departure of Pankajangri.
You see, I always checked on him when he was in the Bhakti Bhavan.
So you see, I would check on him when he was in the Vamsi Bhavan.
And the Mayapur doctor,
Shuki
Suryajut,
The Mayapur doctor, Sukhi Achyuta Das,
and my health team
and my health team
was overseeing his situation.
Was overseeing his situation.
They said that he was using a lot of oxygen.
So they said that he was using a lot of oxygen.
And maybe it ran out in Mayapur.
Maybe it ran out in Mayapur.
He was using like 60 liters a minute.
He was using like 60 liters a minute.
I mean, sometimes I need oxygen. That was like 2 liters a minute.
Sometimes I would need oxygen that is like 2 liters a minute.
60 liters is a large amount.
60 liter is a large amount.
So one devotee what he wants to Govardhan was the head of ICU in the hospital in Howrah.
So one devotee, Buddhimanta Gauradas, he was the head of ICU in a hospital in Howrah.
So he said he made a special arrangement for Pankajangri.
So he said he had made a special arrangement for Pankajangri.
All the doctors at that time were recommending that Pankajangri go to the hospital.
So all the doctors at that time were recommending that Pankajangri Prabhu should go to the hospital.
At that time, one doctor said, there's never any problem for oxygen in the hospital.
At that time, a doctor said there is never any problem for oxygen in the hospital.
I asked, is that in Australia or that's in India?
So I asked, is that in Australia or is that in India?
They said, anywhere.
They said anywhere.
No hospital has any problem with oxygen.
No hospitals has any problems with oxygen.
But now we know that India has oxygen shortage.
So now we know that India has oxygen shortage.
Doctors were recommending.
Since all the doctors were recommending.
And sedated.
Because he would be sedated.
He wanted to stay conscious.
He wanted to stay conscious.
And so the doctor for him they researched and they found that statistics
So the doctors followed the research and they found out the statistics
are not so good for people of his age
it's not so good for people with his age
to have the ventilator. So, and I thought, well, he's still healthy, take him back to the Dham.
So they thought that while he is still healthy, take him back to the Dham.
And in the Dham, he may recover, or at least to be in the Dham.
So in the Dham he may recover, or at least to be in the Dham, to leave.
So, Padrilas, Selection, they worked very hard to prepare a room in the senior dormitory area.
So Brajavilas and Subhekshana Prabhus, they worked very hard to prepare the facility in the senior brahmachari area.
They got 50 jumbo size oxygen cylinders.
So they got 50 what much?
Jumbo
size oxygen cylinders.
They set up the room like an ICU.
So the room was like an ICU.
So then Pankajangri, he finally he reached Mayapur.
So then Pankajangri, he finally reached Mayapur.
And from the ambulance, he saw the Prahlad Narasimha deity.
So from the ambulance, he saw the Prahlad Narasimha deity.
He saw the Panchatattva.
Then he saw the Panchatattva.
And then he went to his room.
And then he went to his room.
Actually, the room wasn't set up fully.
So the room wasn't set up fully.
95%.
95%.
5% they still had to do.
5% they still had to do.
So he was in the ambulance.
So he was in the ambulance
till the next morning.
Till the next morning.
And then finally the oxygen hookup was complete.
So finally the oxygen hookup was complete.
So they shifted him to the room.
So they shifted him to the room.
And all the doctors would see him.
So all the doctors would see him.
And Sukya Chut doctor, Sukya Chut Das, he was doing personal care.
So Dr. Sukya Chut Das, he was doing the personal care.
And he was choosing, and he was very happy in the Dham.
So he was very happy in the Dham.
Seeing that his oxygen assimilation, everything was looking better.
So it seems that his oxygen saturation was looking better.
And like that for some days, things they were looking good.
So like that for some days, things were looking good.
But then the oxygen saturation started falling.
So, and then suddenly the oxygen saturation started falling.
From 90 to 80.
From 90 to 80.
To 70.
To 70.
To 60.
To 60.
To 50.
To 50.
40.
40.
And then they had this Ayurvedic doctor, and Yogendra Prabhu was doing special massage for Pankajangri.
So and then they had this Ayurvedic doctor, Yogendra Prabhu. He was doing this special massage for Pankajangri Prabhu.
And the oxygen saturation started rising.
And the oxygen saturation started rising.
50, 60.
50, 60.
And so Brajavilas and Selection were out the whole night with him.
So Brajavilas and Subhekshana were up the whole night. They were with him.
And other doctors from America, from South Africa, from Australia,
Doctors from America, from South Africa, from Australia,
who were on the call,
who were on the call,
seeing his situation on the video
seeing his situation on the video,
and getting some advice.
and giving some advice.
But at a certain point, although his oxygen saturation didn't go up,
But at some point, although his oxygen saturation didn't go up,
he was still moving his hand and being,
he was still moving his hands and doing things.
and outside there was kirtan going on.
And outside there was kirtan going on.
But then a little before noon, around noon, I don't know exact time,
And then,
around noon though, he left.
and then little before noon or noon, I don't know the exact time, around the noon he left.
We heard from Janivas
We heard from Jananivas Prabhu
how being in the Dham is special mercy.
how being in the Dham is special mercy.
Fortunate to have both Pankajari and Janivas all the time when I'm here in Mayapur.
I was fortunate to have both Jangri Prabhu and Jananivas Prabhu.
Of course, Pankajari came a few years later,
Of course, Pankajangri came few years later when I
but otherwise, most of the time, they're both here.
Otherwise, most of the time they are both here.
You heard he got some inspiration from some yogi
You heard that he got some inspiration from some yogi,
to seek the white light,
seek white light,
and then how he saw the light coming from Prabhupada's eyes.
how he saw the light was coming from Prabhupada's eyes.
He has it, he has it, he has the light!
He has it, he has it, he has the light.
So, also Pankajangri described that he was in Benares,
Also, Pankajangri, it's described when he was in Benares,
and he saw some sadhu with a shaved head in the room
he saw a sadhu with a shaved head in his room,
wearing saffron.
wearing saffron.
He wondered, who is this?
He wanted to know who is this,
And then he looked, and it was Jananivas,
and he looked, it was Jananivas,
who had already taken initiation from Prabhupada.
who had already taken initiation from Prabhupada.
So Jananivas preached to him for a week,
So Jananivas preached to him for a week,
and then when he went back to the west,
and then he went back to the west.
he could see that all the people were completely boring.
So he was seeing all the people were completely boring.
Krishna consciousness was very exciting, was very good.
Krishna consciousness was very exciting and it was good.
So then he stayed in the Bhaktivedanta manner.
And then he stayed in the Bhaktivedanta manner.
You already heard how he got initiated there.
Then we heard that how he got initiated there.
Then he came to Mayapur.
And then he came to Mayapur.
I was very happy, very pleased that he came to Mayapur.
We were very happy and we was very pleased that he came to Mayapur.
And he was very dedicated to serving Prabhupada.
He was very dedicated in serving Prabhupada.
And Prabhupada appreciated both him and Jananivas.
Prabhupada appreciated both him and Jananivas,
And he actually spoke about them.
and he actually spoke about them.
He knew that very well.
So he knew that very well.
We know in the Bhagavad Gita that it says that someone who does not finish or have a devotee may be born in a family of devotee or a rich family.
So we know that in the Bhagavad Gita, if someone who doesn't finish, the devotee is born in a devotee's family or in an aristocratic family.
So at that time, there was no devotees in the West.
So at that time, there were no devotees in the West.
So he was born in a rich family.
So he was born in a rich family.
Unfortunately, as he turned out, his father squandered the money.
Unfortunately, as Jani was revealed, his father squandered the money.
My father was also, he was a millionaire.
My father, he was also a millionaire.
He also squandered money.
He also squandered money. Anyway.
So, I'm very happy that Pankajangri lived in the Dham.
So I'm very happy that Pankajangri Prabhu, he lived in the Dham.
And I'm sure that the other devotees have many realizations.
I'm sure that many devotees have many realizations
like to share.
That they would like to share.
So, we know that Pankajangri, he was, the two brothers look alike, but you could tell the difference by their mood.
So you know that Pankajangri, the two brothers, they look alike, but you can tell them by their mood.
He liked different humor.
He used to have two different humor.
And Janani was more serious.
And Janani Prabhu, he's more serious.
Pankajangri, when he was sick.
So Pankajangri, when he was sick,
he said that he wants someone to come and tell jokes.
He said that he wants someone to come and tell him some jokes.
He liked jokes.
He likes jokes.
So, but he was always thinking about the Holy Dham.
But he was always thinking about the Holy Dham.
And that's a special feature of Janani Prabhu.
So that's the special feature of Janani Prabhu.
I mean Pankajangri Prabhu.
I mean Pankajangri Prabhu.
Pankajangri, we know that he passed away because he got affected by this coronavirus.
So we know that he passed away because he got infected by this
that's the
coronavirus.
External reason.
But that is the external reason.
We know that although it's Krishna's plan.
So we know that although it is Krishna's plan,
but I just thought I should mention that.
I just thought that I should mention that
GBC is telling the Mayapur devotees.
GBC is telling the Mayapur devotees
to be very careful.
To be very careful.
All the government prescriptions.
Follow all the government prescriptions.
Regulations. May 5th, government passed a order.
May 5th, the government passed a order.
Only 50 people allowed in the temple.
Only 50 people are allowed.
People have to observe social distancing.
People have to observe social distancing.
Wear masks.
Wearing masks.
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands.
Do all the protocol.
Follow all the protocols.
So we also want to protect Janani Prabhu.
We also want to protect Janani Prabhu
and all our Prabhupada disciples.
And all other Prabhupada disciples.
And all the devotees in Mayapur.
And all the devotees in Mayapur.
And if you don't follow, see, the government says that you're breaking the law.
If you don't follow, you see, the government says if you are breaking the law.
And that could be punished under the IPC.
And they could be punished under the IPC.
Indian Penal Code.
Indian Penal Code.
I don't know how many years in jail.
I don't know how many years in jail.
Please, I don't want to go to an Indian jail because you don't want to mask.
I don't want to go to the Indian jail
Because you don't want to wear a mask.
because you don't want to wear a mask.
Please cooperate.
So please cooperate.
And we're trying to raise some funds so that we can test all the devotees.
So we are trying to raise some funds so that we can test all the devotees
And help them with all their medical needs and things.
and help them with all the medical needs and things.
But donors are saying
But the donors are saying
if the devotees don't care themselves
if the devotees don't care for themselves,
to protect themselves, why should we send money?
why should we send money?
So this thing is being discussed, and DDC is saying the managers in Mayapur to see that everyone follows.
So this thing is being discussed, and the GBC is saying that the managers in Mayapur, they should see that these things are being followed.
I think we know that a great Vaishnava like Pankajangri leaving.
So actually we know that great Vaishnava like Pankajangri Prabhu is living
in the Holy Dham. Simultaneously, very glorious.
Simultaneously, it is very glorious.
He'll go back to Godhead.
He'll go back to Godhead.
But at the same time,
we're
deprived from his association.
We are deprived from his association.
And that's very great loss.
And that's very great loss.
So, my humble plea to everybody, please take this lesson very seriously.
My humble plea to everybody, please take this lesson very seriously.
That we should be very careful.
That we should be very careful.
While this present wave, surge of infection,
while the present wave or surge of this infection is going on.
And they say that maybe after the second wave, maybe a third wave,
they say that maybe after the second wave, there might be a third wave and so on.
So we want all the devotees to stay healthy.
So we want all the devotees to stay healthy.
And certainly Pankajangri would want that.
And certainly Pankajangri Prabhu would want that.
He took all the medical advice.
He followed the medical advice
to a certain point. And the medical team was trying to save him.
The medical team was trying to save him.
And all the devotees were working very hard.
And all the devotees were working very hard.
But maybe Krishna had another plan.
But maybe Krishna had another plan.
I thank all the devotees.
I thank all the devotees.
All the doctors.
All the doctors.
The devotees that were chanting and praying.
The devotees who were chanting and praying.
For Pankajangri.
For Pankajangri.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Jayapataka Maharaj. So we feel that because we have now the system working, sound is there and so on, we should hear the other two devotees who have contributed something. One is His Grace Anuttama Prabhu. We'll hear his his offering. Excuse me? Yes, who's the chairman of the Mayapur Executive Board. And then Hridai Chaitanya Prabhu also, who is one of the co-directors as well. So please let us hear from Anuttama Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. My name is Anuttama Das, and I'm serving as the chairperson of the Mayapur Executive Board of the MEB. And I'm very honored, although sad, to be here with you for this special memorial service for His Grace Pankajangri Prabhu. I was thinking Pankajangri Prabhu, although he was a brahmachari, generally brahmacharis have small families, but Pankajanri Prabhu had a very, very large family, because every devotee in Mayapur knew him and loved him and appreciated him, and felt him to be their very own brother or father or uncle. So in this way, all of us that knew him were very, very blessed. Pankajanri Prabhu and his brother Jananivas were very instrumental. They were the pillars of Mayapur in so many ways, especially in establishing such beautiful service and standards of worship for Sri Sri Radha Madhava, Ashtashaki, for Lord Nrsimhadev, Prahlad Maharaj, Sri Panchatattva, and of course Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra. Not only did they establish wonderful service for the lordships in Mayapur, but they were also instrumental in establishing the Mayapur Academy. We're so grateful for Pankajanri Prabhu for his efforts in that, because in the Mayapur Academy, devotees, hundreds of devotees from all over the world have come to learn to be trained how to do pujas, how to perform the various different services, cooking for the Lord. In this way, their influence has actually had a positive effect upon deity worship all over ISKCON, all over the world. So Pankajanri Prabhu is really, his influence is being felt even today all around the world in ISKCON temples. We're so grateful to have had this association, and we know that Pankajanri's heart is always in Mayapur. He in many ways was the heart of Mayapur. He influenced and inspired so many devotees. He was a mentor. He was an example of steady, sincere, humble devotional service for so many of us. When Pankajanri Prabhu went to Calcutta, there was a lot of concern in the hearts of many devotees that what if he actually passes away? He was so sick. What if he leaves this world in Calcutta? But of course, Lord Chaitanya, he brought him back to Mayapur. And we all were thinking, well, he's back now, but perhaps that means the doctors can't take care of him. But what it really meant is that Lord Chaitanya wanted to bring him back into the Dham so he could personally take charge of him and watch after him. And we know today that Lord Chaitanya is continuing to look after Pankajanri Prabhu, and we're also very grateful to have had his association, and we pray that his spirit of humility and steadiness and service will enter the hearts of all of us. And we know that when the history is written, it's already being written about Sri Dham Mayapur. Pankajanri Prabhu's name will be there in a very prominent position in the hearts and minds of devotees for many, many years, and perhaps many, many generations, when they understand the glories of Mayapur and Prabhupada's project, and how Pankajanri Prabhu played such an instrumental part in establishing Sri Dham Mayapur. Pankajanri Prabhu Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sri Dham Mayapur Dham Ki Jai.
Krishna. Thank you. And now we'll also hear from His Grace Sridhar Chaitanya Prabhu, another member of the MEB and one of the co-directors of Sri Mayapur project, ISKCON Sri Mayapur. Is it ready to go? You need 1 minute. So perhaps we can ask another devotee to speak while you're getting it ready. Okay? So I would, there's so many wonderful devotees assembled here, but I think it is appropriate that we ask some of our senior devotees, beginning I think with Hari Sori Prabhu. Would you please come and speak? Let me get the microphone ready for you. There'll be a garlanding program a little later, but if you want to do that. Hare Krishna. Here we have His Grace Pankajanri Prabhu right there in the middle of his father and grandfather, Srila Prabhupada, our Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada and our Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada, who continue to bless us all. And they have welcomed him into their eternal Sankirtan party.
Sripad Pankajangri Prabhu Ki Jai. You have to excuse me, my voice is a bit shaky. Just very quickly, I made a couple of notes. I first met the twins in January of 1976 when Prabhupada came here to Mayapur on the 17th of January, and we stayed for about 2.5 months. So I got to know them a little bit, because I was serving Prabhupada, they were serving Radha Madhav. And there was some consternation at that time from Srila Prabhupada's side. When we arrived, as was his custom, he would go for morning walks every day, and he would see whether things were going on nicely or not. So somehow or another at that time, he was not very pleased with the management of the Mayapur project. Small things, but things like light bulbs being left on, switched on after the sunrise. There was an incident with a stool house that had been built over near the west gate there that was not maintained properly. So Prabhupada was a little bit unhappy, let's say. And again, in February the 20th, 1976, it was Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's appearance festival. So they tried to make some arrangement. Prabhupada was up in his room. He sent me downstairs to see whether there was many visitors and what was happening. So I had to report back to him that actually only about 100 people had turned up. So Prabhupada wasn't very pleased about that on such an important day, he said, that so few people have come and nobody from Calcutta. So at 11 o'clock, Prabhupada came downstairs. At that time, Radha Madhav, the deity room was right where Prabhupada's Vyasasan is now, on this ground floor. So Prabhupada gave a talk, and then at the end of that we all gathered in front of the Vyasasan and performed the Pushpanjali celebration, an offering of flowers. Prabhupada had Achyutananda Swami chant the 4 pranam prayers to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Then following Srila Prabhupada's lead, we offered a flower to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's picture on the Vyasasan. This procedure was repeated 3 times. Prabhupada then called for Banu Das, a Japanese-Canadian brahmachari from the Namhata party, to offer the Arati. The special feast cooked in Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's honor was brought in and set out on low wooden tables directly in front of the Vyasasan. Prabhupada stood in front and played his kartals, while Achyutananda Maharaj led an ecstatic kirtan which had us all jumping high up in the air. During the kirtan, Prabhupada asked me to gather a sample of every preparation onto his plate and take it up to his room. He wanted to check what the devotees had cooked to glorify his Guru Maharaj. He also wanted to offer his own respects by taking Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's remnants. After the program finished, Prabhupada returned once more upstairs, and then he ate the feast. He was happy with all the arrangements, but he again appeared disappointed that only about 100 guests had turned up. In fact, during his massage, he had criticized the management for erecting such a large building and not inviting anyone to come. Only local people were in attendance, but nobody from Calcutta. Prabhupada said, only the deity program is going nicely. Referring to the two English identical twin brothers who are the head pujaris, Prabhupada declared, the two brothers, Pankajangri and Jananivas, there is no comparison. Everybody should know there is no complaint. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Just two quick incidences between myself and the twins. One time I was in Sydney, I saw his, let's see, now I forget. I saw one of the twins, so I started speaking with him for about 20 minutes. At the end of that, I asked him, so how is Pankajangri? And he said, oh yes, thanks, I'm fine. I'd been speaking to him for 20 minutes thinking he was Jananivas, and he just let me go on, with my foolishness. So that was one little incident. And then finally, one other time I rang the deity department for some purpose, and when they picked up the phone, it was one of the twins. So I thought, well, I'm not going to make the same mistake again, speaking to the wrong or addressing the wrong twin. So I said, well, so first of all, who am I speaking to? So then he replied, Pankajangri. So even he was getting confused who he was. So anyway, we're blessed that we've had their association for so many years. We can continue that by following their example in doing such magnificent service for the deities. And hopefully in the not too distant future we'll all be reunited again. As Prabhupada said, we'll have another ISKCON in the spiritual world. Sriman Pankajangri Prabhu ki jai, Jananivas Prabhu ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanandi.
The Hridaya Chaitanyas, is that okay? Thank you.
Me, dear Jananivas Prabhu, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, and all glories to Pankajangri Prabhu. Today we come together to remember Pankajangri Prabhu, who gave his life and soul to ISKCON Mayapur. Almost 50 years of unalloyed devotional service to Srila Prabhupada and to Sri Radha Madhava, Sri Panchatattva, and Lord Nrsimhadev, without expecting anything in return. Srila Prabhupada, he requested Jananivas Prabhu and Pankajangri Prabhu to take care of their lordship Sri Radha Madhava. We know that when we take care of Krishna, Krishna takes care of us. Once we join the process of Krishna consciousness, we start to gradually prepare ourselves to go back to Godhead. What to speak of rendering such an outstanding and exemplary service for a lifetime. This is simply glorious. Pankajangri Prabhu was a Siksha Guru. He was an uncle, a transcendental friend, a source of inspiration for so many Mayapur devotees, young and old. and to many devotees even living worldwide. It was the right choice by Pankajangri Prabhu and Janani Das Prabhu to decide to come back to Mayapur. The Lord reciprocated and allowed Pankajangri Prabhu to leave his body in Mayapur Dham, in his home, in the presence of Srila Prabhupada chanting and the devotees chanting the holy names. Pankajangri Prabhu's return back to Godhead leaves us in separation with a vacuum that is felt. And if I feel the separation of Pankajangri Prabhu, how much more must it be for Janani Das Prabhu, who was particularly close to his brother since their conception. The glorious service rendered by both of them, Janani Das Prabhu and Pankajangri Prabhu, to Mayapur as pioneers in the headquarters of ISKCON will be carved in the history of Mayapur and will always be remembered. Pankajangri Prabhu ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Or Premanande.
Hare Krishna,
Dear
thank you.
Swami, dear Janani Das Prabhu, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances.
Haribol. Hare Krishna. We're going to continue. We're going to hear from the other God brothers and God sisters of Janani Das and Pankajangri here. I think, just like you heard me just right now, although we do not have his physical association, we know that the devotee always lives in our hearts, living through our memories and living through our connections and living through their words. And we also have the great fortune of continuing to have the association of Janani Das, who complements so well his brother. So they'll always be in our hearts together. Nareshwar Prabhu, can you please do another one of our older Mayapur devotees, and so much interaction. I mean, when I think of Pankajangri, one of the main things I think about Pankajangri is seeing him and Janani Das, seeing them on the altar with the Abhishek and organizing everything. And I also see Nareshwar there. So I'm sure you have a lot to tell us about your association with Pankajangri Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshushan Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki, Pankaj Swami ki. So that was my name for Pankajangri Prabhu, because that's how he was. He was renounced. Even though he didn't take the vows, he was renounced. He was a renounced person. Yes, Pankajangri and I and Janani Das Prabhu, we've been serving together for 40 plus years here in Mayapur. And I don't have stories to tell. I don't remember stories. I'm not a storyteller. But I can say one or two things about Pankaj Swami. we see that Srila Prabhupada, he was able to deal and relate to anyone. Big transcendentalists, big politicians, didn't really matter who it was, but Srila Prabhupada could relate and deal with them on a personal level. And we see that Pankajangri Prabhu had that same quality. He was dealing with all kinds of people all over the world and relating to them. And you won't find, at least I've never found anyone who had something negative or bad to say about Prabhuji. And so that's significant because that's unusual. You always find someone has something bad or something negative to say about people. But I didn't find that here. The same goes for his brother, of course. And so that's one of the qualities of Vaishnav. So he was Vaishnav Thakur, and he related with people. I mean, you know, he loved to play with the kids. You would see him, he would relate with the little kids. And then he would relate with big sannyasis, gurus, in his service with so many people. For us, for me and for us, I don't know from his side, but from our side, he was a family member. He was one of our family members, as was his brother. And we, as I said, we've been together for many, many years. And it wasn't like we were in each other's pockets. We served together when we met each other or when we passed each other. Sometimes it was, or many times it was just a nod or a look. And other times we would have talks. One story I can relate, because it's very recent. Stuti Devi and myself, we recently moved. And so we wanted to invite Jananivas and Pankajangri for lunch to come to our new place. And then we had some other motive as well, which I'll get to. So I called Pankajangri up and I said, hey, you and Jananivas, can you come for lunch? Either on Friday or on Saturday, whichever works for you. Speak to Jananivas and see which one is practical for you, and then let me know. So a little while later he called me back and he said, Friday's a good day for us. I said, fine, 1 o'clock I'll arrange for Toto, one of the devotees, to bring you to our new place. You don't know where it is, and you come. So about 20 minutes after that, the phone rang again, and it was Pankajangri, and he said, oh, make sure that you make a cake because it's Jananivas's birthday. So it's Jananivas's birthday, so make sure you make a cake. I said, no problem, we'll take care of it. And of course, Stuti made a cake for them. So they came, and we took lunch. I also invited Vijayapurna Maharaj. So there was the four of us there. I cooked, and then we were sitting and we were eating. I was eating, and they were more or less finished. And then I raised a question for them regarding the worship of Sri Govardhan, because he had come to our place. And so that was very interesting, because they went deep, very deep, into a discussion about Sri Giriraj and all the different aspects and how to worship him and who he was. And so that was another aspect of Pankajangari, very knowledgeable and realized in his understanding of worshipping the deities and what's to be done and what's not to be done, because there's many different, as came out in that discussion, there's many different ways and approaches, and which approach we should take, and which approach how we should approach the deity. All three of them were explaining. So that was very instructive, but quite normal for Pankajangari Prabhu and the others. So I'll miss him, but I have to say I don't really feel separation from him, because, well, I don't know what because, but I just feel that we'll be together again. I mean, he used to leave on so many occasions, and I didn't feel any problem, and I don't personally feel any problem now. Of course, there's a lot of grief all around the world, but grief is just an expression of love, because he was loved, not just here in Mayapur, but all over the world. He did travel. He traveled on his own behalf, and he also traveled on behalf of Jananivas Prabhu. Jananivas Prabhu didn't have to leave Mayapur for 40 years or something like that, because Pankajangari Prabhu took his place when they had to do certain things. And so he traveled all over the world, so he was known all over the world, and he affected devotees' lives and hearts all over the world. So it's not just Mayapur who's feeling separation or grief at his passing, but devotees all over the world. Hare Krishna. Pankajangari Prabhu ki.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much, Narasha Prabhu. Yes, I was reflecting, talking to devotees in Calcutta. I was in Calcutta at the time of his departure. That Pankajangari Prabhu, he's our family, he's our friend, and he was also our pujari. He was our Nishringa pujari. And of course, having a friend in that place where Jai Jagadisha, where Nishringa is quite a wonderful thing, to have a friend in high places. And everyone felt like that they had, and not only Nishringa, but Ugra Nishringa. Not easy to approach, but I got a friend, Pankajangari. And he was always willing to approach our Lord Nrsingadev on our behalf. And we thank him. And we will continue as we approach Lord Nrsingadev to request Pankajanri's assistance. I'd like to continue with the God's siblings and ask Srimati if she would kindly talk to us about and speak about Pankajanri. I know you've had a lot of different association. While Mataji's offering a garland. So we have, I think, till 12:45, Subhakshana Prabhu. We can go on. So in addition to hearing from the different devotees here, as I said in the beginning, there are a number of devotees here who have very, very close service relationships with Pankajanri Prabhu, but feel more comfortable sitting and listening than speaking, but we honor their feelings there. We do have some messages from some of his brothers and sisters, which we're waiting until 11:30 because they will then, they're in England, in the UK, I believe, and will want to tune in. So that will be that'll be another part of our program. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Dinamini Namaste Sasari Divagurvan Vichayasi Hare Bhaskacharita. Hare Krishna, when I heard that Pankajanri Prabhu got COVID, I immediately I sent him a message and on his WhatsApp, and I said, I heard you got COVID. So, so he replied, with the folded hands, yes. And so we had a little conversation, and a few days later, I heard that he was quite sick. So he said that, but my brother is okay. Jananivas is okay. He's in the Brahmacharya ashram, and I'm in the Vamsi Bhavan. Anyways, I was very surprised that Jananivas Prabhu was talking about his mother, who very much loved her twins. And actually, there's a memory, long time ago when I think it was the first year that I came with my 4 children to Mayapur. And Jananivas and Pankajanri Prabhu, they knew that I am a twin also. And I came with my 2 little twin boys, Abhay Churan and Nandulal, and they had 2 older brothers. And so one day, Jananivas came to my, I was staying over there in the expo, and that house is still there. It's over there where the TOVP is now. And Janani came to my place and he knocked at the door, and I was a little surprised that he came to my place. And I said, how may I help you? Please have a seat. Do you want some water? You know, and he said, really humble with the folded hands, Mataji, can I ask you a question? And I said, yeah, what is it? He said, you must know, is it really true that a mother loves her twins more than the other children? So I didn't know what to say. I said, certainly I'm very attached to my twins. So he also related that story to me, how during the war, her other 9 siblings were given away, but she, I mean, 9 of you, you said 9, today I learned there were 10, but that she, even though they had a younger sister, she gave them away, but she kept on wanting to hold on to the twin boys. So I guess only twins can understand this. So, and Pankajangi Prabhu, whenever my own twin brother was in trouble, he is not very healthy these days, and I used to go to him and he say a prayer to Lord Nishingadev for my twin brother. So I'm very thankful to him for that. And actually, my connection with Pankajangi Prabhu was very much with the elephants. So when our previous temple elephant, you know, passed away, Pankajangi Prabhu was actually weeping. He was crying. He was sitting in the chair. He was crying. He said, we totally mismanaged her. We killed her, you know. So I very much stuck in my heart. So when I was asked to bring more elephants to India, to Mayapur, then Pankajangi always encouraged me, and sometimes he called me, or he would, I think they even, Janani was or Pankajangi, they gave the names Lakshmi Priya and Vishnu Priya because they are the names of the 2 wives of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And one time, even Pankajangi Prabhu, he called me and he said, Mataji, you have anything to do in Assam with getting elephants or something? And I said, well, my work is done. I'm just waiting for some other paperwork. And he said, yeah, but I'm going to Guwahati to paint the deities, so you have to go with me. Isn't there anything else what you have to do there about the elephants? So I said, okay, maybe I'll go. And so he came with me to look at a couple of elephants, and but that elephant that we saw had tuberculosis, so so he said, better not get that one. I said, no, I'm not going to get that one, although we are trying to give some blessings so this elephant will survive. So Pankajangi was always very, very concerned about the elephants because they come here to serve Radha Madhava. And when they finally came, you know, he was so happy. Oh, so small, you know. And he go there in front, and he go, kissy, kissy. Lakshmi Priya, Vishnu Priya, you know. He would, you know, always observe them, or sometimes I catch them coming to the Hatishala and you know, having a little darshan. All the time, you know, Pankajangi would encourage me to you know, take care of these and he always referred to them as the servants of Radha Madhava. And so I'm very thankful to Pangajangi Prabhu for just giving me faith just to keep on going and taking care of these animals. And as maybe devotees know or don't know, but Pangajangi Prabhu, he used to ride the elephant when the old elephant, Gulab Kali, he used to ride her doing the elephant, Radha Madhava's elephant procession. There's some photos also. So I think he started riding Lakshmi Priya, but I'm not so sure. She was too fidgety, so I think he let the others continue. And but now she's quite calm. And just up to the last time, he would always wait for an opportunity to, to feed them something special or to. So, so this is all I can relate to about Pangajangi Prabhu. There's so many memories, and I still cannot believe there's this void. Who do you call? Who is so open and who is so accessible? And Pangajangi Prabhu, not even Jananivas. My son, he told me, Pangajangi Prabhu, he recommended me for initiation, and Jananivas for the second initiation. And I have of my granddaughter, her name is Veni Madhavi. She's now two and a half years old. So we tried to get Jayapatak Maharaj to do the grain ceremony. And so that wasn't possible because of the situation with Maharaj. And so we went downstairs, what to do. And so there was Pangajangi, and he said, I'll do it. So he did the grain ceremony of Veni Madhavi, and so she got the blessings from such an exalted Vaishnava. And all glories to Pangajangi Prabhu, all glories to Jananivas Prabhu. May they all always stay in our hearts, in our minds, and be and give us guidance in times of distress and all the time actually. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Srimati. In fact, it seems that it would be a good, I'm just thinking about all of the instructions and lessons and experiences that all the devotees in this community have had with Pankajanri Prabhu. These are informative, educational, and relishable in so many different ways, and I hope that they get recorded for posterity, for future generations. I'd like to ask my good wife, Atita Gunam, to please come and speak about Pankajanri Prabhu. I do remember Pankajanri riding the elephant, and I don't remember, maybe Pradivardhan Maharaj, you remember, would he also ride Lakshmi Priya, or did you take over from him? Anyway, but yes, initially it was quite a wonderful experience to see him there with Radha Madhava. It was, you really felt it very, very complete. By the way, this program continues this afternoon. I'm not sure the details, whether here in the temple or, yes. So again, but invitation, but online as well. So there'll be more opportunities to hear.
Hare Krishna. Can you hear it? Hare Krishna. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vasudaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jai Lord Nrsingadev. It's not easy to understand how great you are, Pankajangari, because you are so unassuming. Truly, I feel disturbed and shocked that you left our association. Pankajangari Prabhu, you were truly a Vaikuntha man, yet you were so humble but jovial. You were kind to everyone you met. You were easy to relate to, and sometimes you would talk about your childhood pastimes with me. Many of those pastimes were talked about by Jananivas Prabhu. You and Jananivas Prabhu were together for 77 years, and more if you count your togetherness facing each other in your mother's womb. You grew up in London in Barnet, but both of you were interested in higher knowledge. You both wanted to go to India and find out what was happening on the spiritual plane. When Jananivas first met Srila Prabhupada, can you hear it? When Jananivas first met Srila Prabhupada, he wanted to do what he said and encouraged you, Pankajangari Prabhu. Both brothers wanted to carry out Srila Prabhupada's orders, which was to establish deity worship in Mayapur, as Mayapur is Srila Prabhupada's place of worship. I was encouraged by Jananivas and Pankajangari to support the children's park in Mayapur. Pankajangari wanted an Agashura demon that the kids could play on, so I made one. It's 5 feet tall. One of the highlights of Mayapur was the Hathi procession. And of course, Pankajangari would ride one of the elephants. My children absolutely adored Pankajangari. They would have pastimes together to do with deity worship. As my daughter Neela relates, they used to stand next to him to help the Pujari offer Arati to Srila Prabhupada during Guru Puja. He was always friendly and fun. We are devastated but relieved that Pankajangari Prabhu is no longer suffering. When my husband Pancharatna saw him in the senior brahmachari ashram 2 days before he left, he saw how difficult it was for him to breathe. But you, Pankajangari, were in good spirits. Now you no longer have to suffer. Now you are with Srila Prabhupada and can continue to serve with the same grace and joviality that inspired so many of us. You and Jananivas established the deity worship deity worship here and all over the world. We were sure that with all the outpouring of love and prayers from the devotees to Lord Nrsingadev in Mayapur and around the world that you would stay with us. But Krishna had his plan. I know the difference between Jananivas and Pankajangari. Jananivas wears a watch. That's how we could tell. Okay, your servant and God sister, Tita Guna Devi Dasi. Haribol.
Thank you, Atita. So, I know that there are many other God brothers and God sisters around the world, perhaps tuning in now. We've heard and read different offerings online, and we've all been affected so deeply. Here, both? Okay. So here in this assembly, we now turn to the nephews or children, however you want to look at it, who have also assembled. And I'd like to begin with Bhakti Arjavan Priti Vardhan Maharaj, another devotee who I associate with Pankajanri on every occasion of Abhishek. But I'm sure there are many, many other arenas in which you've associated. My own platform of association, primary platform of association with Pankajanri was on Parikrama. We were definitely Parikrama friends, and I always could count on him to jump in and help me out with the pastimes. So anyway, that's we'll try to fill that gap. Hare Krishna. So you want to just hold these?
Yes, sir.
If you want to sit down, then we can put it on the. You want to sit, or you want to?
Okay, I'll sit down.
Yeah. Okay. Can you bring this? Is there a problem? Huh?
Actually, on this one, so much noise coming, so that's.
So you don't want to use this at all?
This is for the temple, that's for the broadcast.
Okay. And if we, but this doesn't, okay, so we need both of these. All right. But can't we put them on the stand? Yeah. So bring the stand. It's just a lot easier for people to speak into the mic when they don't have, especially got two of them. Okay. There we go. You are on.
So only two, yeah?
Okay.
Gauranga.
Okay. Hare.
Needs to be raised a bit.
And closer.
The technology, yeah?
Okay.
Just follow it, yeah?
Thank you.
Put it inside the mouth, yeah? Gauranga. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Yeah. When I came to Mayapur, it was almost 30 years ago, then at the time, I didn't know much about Jananas Prabhu, Pankajanri Prabhu. I was in Gurukul. We would come for some services. And yeah, then I would have some association. But first I thought that there is only one person. Then I came to know actually there are two brothers, but I didn't know who was who for quite some time. And then I observed that they are like one, but they are different. But whenever I think of sadhu, then immediately the first are the two brothers, Janavas Prabhu, Panganagi Prabhu. Those are the sadhus. Those are the sadhus in Mayapur. Those are the sadhus for me. I have had a lot of association with, like we said, the Abhisheks.